Welcome to The Pulse. You know, we do this every week, bringing in interesting people doing interesting things in all different fields. But this one's different for me. All right, so I know you're watching nationally, but for my Philly people, you know that we're different as it relates to football, as it relates to our teams, as it relates to our sports. So when they told me we could get Brian Westbrook in the building, it changed my whole presentation, man. I appreciate you coming in.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I want to start with the book, because I think the book kind of talks about your history and your experiences. So you got a new book just out, The Mouse Who Played Football. Tell me about this. Why did you decide to do this?
Well, the book is some of my best work. Some of the things that I love the most about the book is actually what's happening in my life right now. And so when my co-author, Leslie Van Arsdale, came to me and said, listen, I have a book idea. Let's talk about it. The book is basically around your life. You know, let's talk about it. And being 42, having 3 kids, 9, 5, and 3, Bria, Brian, and Brielle. At this point in my life, I'm reading stories to the kids at night. I want those stories to have meaning. I want my kids to understand there's much more to life than playing and crayons and things like that. And so when she came to me with the book and the story, and that was loosely based around me, there were so many things that I wanted to put in the book. There were so many opportunities in my life to learn from for myself, and I wanted to share those with everyone. And so we came up with the book, and we're super excited to have it. So
loosely based on you. I mean, it's a mouse, so that's why it's kind of loosely based. Yeah. But in a lot of ways, at least the message, it seems like, was kind of your career. All through your career, you're too small to do this, is what they were telling you.
Well, yeah. So it started way back when I started playing football and sports. They always said, you're the smallest guy on the team. You're too small to do this. You're too small to do that. You're only going to be this. And my coach back in high school simply said to me, and I know a lot of people have heard this, it doesn't matter the size of the dog in the fight. It's the matter of the size of the fight in the dog. How much do you want it? What's your desire? How hard are you willing to work for it? And when we wrote this book, it was simple. We wanted to make sure that our children, not just my children and Leslie boys, but everyone understands that don't allow someone else to dictate to you what you can achieve, what you're going to be. The only way that things should be dictated to you is yourself. You have the opportunity to determine exactly what you're going to be in life, how you're going to do it, and how far you're going to go.
I love the message. And one of the things we focus on the show is how you use your voice for good and empower people or what have you. And now, you know, after a bunch of records in high school, college, and then the pros, you know, after Pro Bowl appearances, after 1,300-yard rushing, like after all of that, it's easy to sit back and go, so your size doesn't limit you. We could go. Did you believe it all through that time? Because no disrespect, you're not a big football guy, you're obviously in shape. But you're a little guy to be out there having 300-pound people fall on you. Yeah. You know, did you believe it even starting in high school?
Well, I'll tell you, it's hard to make a living. It's a hard way to make a living when you have guys like Dawkins and Jeremiah Trotter hitting you every single day. Talking about big guys, 6'2", 6'3", 250-plus pounds. Many times I was outweighed and, of course, much smaller than a lot of different guys. But, yeah, I did believe it. And, again, that comes from internal. And we have the ability to control that. I tell my kids all the time, only control the things and worry about the things that you can control. You can't control how tall you are. You can't control how much you weigh for the most part. What you can control is how hard you work. What you can control is how many times you're going to sacrifice to achieve your goal. You have the ability to control those things. And so those are the only things that I ever worried about.
So you believe that going back, even NFL?
I did believe it. You know, so when I was in high school, going into my senior year, I tore my ACL. Okay. So prior to that, I was being recruited by almost every school in the country. Then every school in the country, except for Villanova, said, we don't want you. We're not going to give you a scholarship. So Villanova was one of the schools that, in my mind, were the only one that recruited me. The only ones that said, we'll give you an opportunity to heal, number one, but also come back and play football again. And so I said, okay, Villanova is a great school. It's a great academic school. It's a great school that you can network after school. At that point, the NFL was not in my dreams. I wanted to find a way to be educated and then get a job. After a couple years at Villanova, things were working out, and people began to start noticing the things that I was able to do on the football field. And then the opportunity in the NFL popped up.
But then when it was time to go to the NFL, the you're too small in a lot of ways came back at you.
Yeah.
You know, at that point, and they third round pick, was that encouraging, motivating, or to some levels insulting, motivating? Because it's like, for real? Y'all didn't just see everything I just did?
Well, for me, it was insulting, motivating. It was kind of one of those things that you add another chip to your shoulder. Okay, they don't think I could do that. They don't think I could do this. Let me prove them wrong. I'll never forget, after breaking records, having the most yards in NCAA history in college, I went to the Senior Bowl, which is a collection of the best seniors in the country. You're talking about from Miami, Florida State, Ohio State, some of the biggest schools in the country. And I practiced all week, little guy from Villanova, practicing hard against some of the best schools, best players in the country. And we get to the game day, and the running back coach, and I'll never forget this, I carried this with me throughout my NFL career. The running back coach comes to me and said, listen, people only think you can be a third down back. People only think that you can be a special teams player. So that's when we're going to play you in the All-Star game. Now, just imagine an All-Star game where everyone gets the opportunity to play, everyone gets the opportunity to show what you can do. He's telling me you're only going to be limited to these things. And so I took that again as another insult. I took that again as another opportunity to add things, another chip to my shoulder, because I wanted to prove those people wrong.